Ripple preparing for an IPO. Why XRP will have a high price. So back with Jesse of Apex Crypto Insights.
Hey, my friend, whether you're a day trader or hodler, I've got a game changer for you. BTCC Exchange, founded in 2011, is the world's longest running crypto platform with zero hacks and licenses in many countries. No KYC or VPN needed, and signing up is fast. For whales or pro traders, it's a dream. Top 5 on CoinMarketCap, unmatched liquidity, low fees, but leverage and copy trading is risky, so only use what you can afford to lose, or seriously don't do it at all. I launched this channel to share crucial crypto insights, not to see you make reckless moves and lose your hard-earned money. BTCC has over 300 crypto available, including XRP, QNT, XLM, and HBAR. Use my referral link on the screen, in the description, or in the pinned comment for up to $10,000 USDT rewards, up to 50% off fees, and VIP perks. Never keep all your crypto on exchanges. Use reputable hardware wallets. Links below. Now let's get back to the video.
Consider smashing that like. We're going to get into what matters because a lot of new information from Ripple Swell literally been going on as we speak. And big up to Smoke. Send me the DM to get into some of the highlights. So let's jump right into it. First is from the publication X. What do we have? Well, let's point it out. Number one, it's the finding. And Smoke points out Ripple's IPO value is directly tied to XRP's market price, plus new accounting rules could make it one of the most valuable companies in crypto. And disclaimer, there'll be parts where Jesse will interject, so don't consider it an interruption. I welcome it. Let's read this for a brief moment. Few realize how deeply Ripple's future IPO value depends on the price of XRP. A 2023 valuation reported at that time showed Ripple's implied worth at $28.6 billion when XRP traded at 60 cents. The document states clearly, quote, Ripple's largest asset is its XRP holdings, 46 billion tokens. It also revealed steep private equity discounts. And here's another quote. An 84% discount in secondary markets and a 60% discount in tender offers. At the time, Ripple's balance sheet listed, quote, cash or securities for $1 billion and 46 billion XRP tokens. Then came FASB guidance, which changed everything. Companies who hold cryptocurrencies, according to this quote, will report them at fair value. This other quote, the result could cause the financial statements for a potential IPO Ripple to reflect the market price of the XRP token. And here's some of the aha moment. That means Ripple's IPO valuation now mirrors the real price of XRP. When this report was written, XRP was at 60 cents, give or take, giving Ripple a theoretical full valuation of $28.6 billion. Today, XRP trades near $2.24. That same math now implies Ripple's value could exceed $100 billion. I have it way, way higher than that when we talk about capturing a value of the internet with the internet value, but that would make Ripple larger than Coinbase and bigger than several U.S. banks by market cap. And now I'm sure we're going to have all the market cap bros flooding into the comments, and it is what it is, but every uptick in XRP's price directly increases Ripple's reported value, and it's documented. So let's blow this up before Jesse chimes in, but if he wants to interject at any particular point, he's welcome to do so. And here's an example of valuation issues with Ripple and XRP, and as we blow it up a little bit more, it did cite the whole thing of FASB guidance and how it could significantly increase reported value. The result of this guidance is our Ripple example could cause the financial statements for a potential IPO of Ripple to reflect the market price of the XRP token. And again, back to what we just said, but here's the valuations above here in these tables. And you see the implied company value, secondary markets, the tender offers, theoretical full value at the time. So some of your thoughts on this before we get more into obviously more from Smoke, because he has this other area, which is right here, Jesse, about XRP's true value and how it will be revealed after the Ripple IPO. And we have this whole thing about Swell going on. So I want you to chime in on this one. Your thoughts on this so far, Jesse.
Nice. Hey, guys. Hope all is well. Man, that's crazy because to me, I feel that those XRP in escrow, a lot of them, like I said, they're already pre-allocated for central banks, in my opinion. I don't know, man, central banks and partners and like DTCC, and I just don't know how the heck that's going to work. Because I think my understanding is originally on the books, Ripple had their XRP on the books valued at 0, and I was like, how the heck, if I'm not mistaken, but that's what I remember. I really clearly remember that. So leave us a comment if you think I'm right, or what do you think about that? Because to me, I'm sure they had it at 0, XRP on the balance sheet at 0, and I was like, how the heck can they have their XRPs on their balance sheet at 0? To me, it's like, okay, it means it's, it's not for them. It's going to be sent to the Bank of England and IMF and the DTCC and the Federal Reserve and so on and so forth. And I just don't know how that works, man, because I'm not convinced that those XRPs are all for Ripple. But again, I've been saying, and we've been talking about this a lot, and I've been almost screaming on top of the hills that Ripple is not your regular company, my friend. Ripple is, to me, it's like the IMF disguised as a private company, or maybe they get. It's not a regular private company. Okay, they're subject to somebody, they're subsidiary of somebody, or they will be a subsidiary of somebody, or they will just whatever, right? So either the full escrow is going to belong to somebody else, be managed by somebody else. I'm going to do a crazy deep dive on the ESDR, my friend, the electronic special drawing rights. Describes Ripple to the T, describes XRP to the T. So yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know how the heck this is going to work, because to me, these XRPs are not all for Ripple. Like I said, I can't see it again, unless it's all moved to the IMF, Federal Reserve, and then they lend them out, or what the IMF lends it out. Yeah, I don't even know what to think of it. But it's I know if they own it, I mean, if it's all for them, I mean, the value of Ripple is going to be, the company is going to be insane, which is what we've been saying, right?
As Jesse has mentioned numerous times, it's so insane. And isn't that interesting? And with that
Right.
said, we're going to jump back into this. How about that? So what we have here is a little bit more about this. So here's the next one from Smoke. He posted this 11 hours ago. He points out SBI. How many times have we referenced SBI? SBI's XRP's true value will be revealed after the Ripple IPO. And Smoke points down to this part. It's actually just blown up that much more bigger. All right, so here it is. Mentions PE investment business. You see here the major constituent companies / businesses. This is great to reference this. Okay, so again, SBI Group, top right, SBI Investment, SBI Shenxi Corporate Investment. Again, all this with SBI apparently, even overseas, right? And you see here, when we go further down, the whole business highlight of the profit from the change in fair value and profit on sales of investment securities improved as a result of improved valuations for listed securities such as Circle Internet Group, which is US based, by the way, and eToro. I still have one of those accounts, and that, of course, is Israel based. With respect to SBI Group's unlisted shares of US based Ripple Lab Inc., the valuation of XRP held in escrow by Ripple Lab Inc. will not be reflected in the company's valuation until a definitive price is established, such as through an IPO or other means. And of course, this is in the fine print as of April 2025. So here's the bottom line. Bottom line is this. We see here, recently speaking, that Ripple Swell is uncovering some things. And of course, this is where we're going to get into the next step here. So please stay the course on this, because it's a real treat and you're going to learn some things with the documents. Let's move along. As we do so, we see here. What? You want to interject? Go ahead.
Max, yeah, sorry. So you see here is exactly what I was talking about earlier. And I said, guys, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think, because I am 100% sure that there's somewhere it says that XRP was not going to be 0 in the books for a while. And this is exactly what it says at the bottom. The valuation of XRP held in escrow by Ripple Labs, Inc. will not be reflected in the company's valuation until a definitive price is established, such as through an IPO. So I think there's other documents too showing that technically they have it at 0 right now. But I just want to point out, guys, people need to know that SBI is not a joke. SBI owns 90% of the banks in Japan. It's absolutely massive. They're the biggest private shareholder of Ripple. I believe it's 10% they own. They might be 9% right now, but technically it's supposed to be about 10% that they own of Ripple. They're the biggest shareholder of R3 as well, my understanding, and they're the ones that helped settle the lawsuit between R3 and Ripple. And we've got numerous documents showing SBI documents showing R3 using the Corda settler, using XRP for settlement, and so on. So SBI is literally behemoth in R3, behemoth in Ripple, and literally they're massive. And it's not only in Japan. I mean, they're in India. They're all over. It's absolutely massive. But they are the ones, like I said, that helped to settle the lawsuit. And the shared ledger that R3 is using is the XRP ledger, my friend. And the R3 Corda uses the Corda settler for settlement, which uses the XRP token for settlement. The Corda settler exclusively uses XRP for settlement. Don't get it twisted, guys. Okay, it's about settlement. And so just wanted to add that real quick.
No problem. We're going to get further into this. Let's pull this up back to the visual and from Smoke once again. We see here, Smoke shared this earlier this morning. You see specifically IPO preparations. And as we blow this up, this comes officially from Ripple on X. Swell 2025, we have, as in Ripple, closed a $500 million strategic investment at a $40 billion valuation led by Fortress Investment Group and Citadel Securities. There's the reference. And here's the bottom line. 95 billion plus in total Ripple payments or payment volume. 1 billion plus RLUSD stablecoin market cap, 6 strategic acquisitions completed in just over 2 years, 25% of shares repurchased, 3 times growth in Ripple Prime business, 75 regulatory licenses globally. So that's major. This is the momentum building the internet of value. And of course, there's an article about this. I do want you to, again, give some of your insights about even this, because to me, that's a lot right there, Jesse. That's very impressive.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, we're seeing these acquisition and these investment and these merger. Like, it's unbelievable what's going on in the past 4 or 5 weeks. And I was asked about that by Paul Barron on his show, and about all the acquisitions. And I said, to me, this is like, this has been planned for years, right? So every time I see something like this, it's almost like what's Hidden Road, for example. I feel like it's been planned for years, where they say, okay, you guys go and build this out and get the network and effect and do this and that, and Ripple will just come and buy it out later, right? Like, the things we're seeing last 3-4 months is just insane. But right here on the document you showed, it was 95 billion in payments, and literally 95 billion, right? So Ripple is, at $2.35 the time of this recording, $2.35 with 95 billion in volume. Well, we've talked about this many times. We know Swift is using Ripple. Swift alone is between 5 to 7 trillion per day. We know that the DTCC is going to use Ripple. It's all going to run through Ripple, right? And we're talking DTCC is like 9 to 14 trillion per day right now. I think DTCC is going to settle. I think it's like 30. It's going up by 20% per year right now. DTCC, I think the year before was 25 trillion, and then it was like 3,000 trillion, and I think now it's going to be next year or this year is like 3,600 trillion. So anyway, so my point is, here we're seeing on this document saying 95 billion in volume. 95 billion in volume seems like a lot, but it's peanuts compared to what Ripple is going to move. So if Ripple is worth right now 2.25, the XRP, sorry, $2.25, right, a little over $2 USD, based on 95 billion in payment volume and literally 1 billion in RLUSD stablecoin. Imagine when it's running 10 trillion per day or 15 trillion per day, and you literally have all the CBDCs being built on top of it, and literally you have all these stable coins going through it as well. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's why, I mean, maybe I sound too bullish sometimes, but the potential is insane, because again, this is the internet of value. You start tokenizing stocks, bonds, derivatives, debt instruments running through that. I mean, the debt market alone, corporate and government debt and corporate debt alone is $550 trillion. You start tokenizing that on the XRP ledger and so on and back. Like, it's crazy, man. Because again, it's like, it looks like a lot, but it's 95 billion in volume, and 1 billion stablecoin is nothing compared to what's going to be on the XRP ledger. That is peanuts, my friend. Absolute peanuts. All the money. Right?
Well, we're not done. It may seem like we are. We're not done. Let's give you guys some more key connectors with this. So again, Smoke doing it big with the visuals, and what we have here is also good. So SBI XRP's true value will be revealed after the Ripple IPO. Again, some people feel as though, well, is it really, going to be, I guess, right after Swell? Hard to say.
Max, sorry, excuse me. I want to add something. I forgot to tell you. You see where it says the true value could be revealed after the IPO or by other means. You never know. Might not be the IPO, but it says in a very subtle way, through the IPO or by other means. Are way at the bottom. So they're giving another option too as well, how the price may be revealed. What if they flip the switch? What if they move all that escrow to the IMF and other organizations, and then they do an IPO or whatever. I don't know, but a lot of people miss that part because it's saying through an IPO and other means. But I agree. We usually reference the IPO, and that would be obviously a good way, but in a very subtle way here, it's saying or other means. Everybody's
Yeah,
missing that.
that is a good catch, and I'm glad you pointed that out. I want to jump back to
Yeah,
what we have here from
for sure.
SBI. So let's pull this up. It's not this slide, it's this one right here. Let's magnify that a little bit better or bigger. So this is big enough. Significant gains expected once valuation of stake in Ripple 9% is clarified through IPO or an equivalent event. Again, I mean, these are institutions literally talking about, like the title of our video, of how XRP will have a high price. But yet there's people who just say, hey, price don't move much. I'm going to follow what the institutions are saying, not just what's hearsay. No offense.
But Max, this is not any institution as well. People need to take note that this is SBI Group, okay? And they're the biggest private holder of Ripple. And so these presentations that you're bringing up here, these are literally, these are presentations that they would be showing to their investors.
And, I know. That's
yeah.
why I keep highlighting this and not necessarily it's just some random person's comment. Nothing against them, but this holds more weight.
Oh, absolutely. And when you saw the Ikasha, or what are his last name? I'm butchering it right now, but the president of SBI Group, when he's talking about Ripple having a ridiculous value, he was talking to I think it was a shareholder meeting, investor shareholder meeting, literally. So, anyways, yeah, I just want to add, like, this is not a joke. This is SBI Group, they're the biggest private holder, and literally these are documents that they use to present to their investors. So,
absolutely, yeah. And it says here, through IPO or equivalent event, but not reflected in current quarter's PE investment business results, and it shows Ripple's business activities. I mean, in reality, there'd be too many to put on one sheet. But on the left side, let's focus more on that compared to RLUSD. International remittance solution utilizing XRP, adopted by more than 100 financial institutions over 55 countries, jointly established SBI Ripple Asia. SBI Remit began offering Japan's first international money transfer service utilizing XRP in 2021. And over the past year, the price of XRP has more than quadrupled. I mean, I remember I originally came in XRP at 32 cents. When we hit 365, that was an 11x. I mean, 11x isn't too bad, but I'm not into XRP for 11x, but maybe for some people they are. And I think that's worth pointing out. The other area I want to jump into is a little bit of the RLUSD. So it says here, a US dollar-backed stablecoin is issued under a trust license from the New York DFS. RLUSD is also expected to be used as collateral for other purposes at Hidden Road. And ironically, what did Ripple do? They had acquisition of Hidden Road. So this all kind of coming full circle. Now watch this. Let's jump down to this other key area. We need to. Smoke points out this, because we're talking about the IPO. DBS Bank, Ripple plans to IPO in 2026. Ripple is the only company with a publicly traded native asset XRP directly positioned to capture the momentum crypto IPO checkmark. And you see here specifically from the citation of DBS Group Research on July 3rd, 2025 from Crypto Digest, crypto heading to Wall Street. Think about the terminology here. Heading to Wall Street, disrupting Wall Street. Wall Street picked years ago Ethereum. Now you see a shift of Wall Street with something maybe like XRP. And as we blow this up, let's zoom in more. And in doing so, we see here, following Circle's successful IPO in June, larger crypto listings are now in the pipeline. And on the right side, what does it mention? It shows here, again, back to what Smoke was talking about, riding on this momentum, major US crypto players, including Gemini and Bullish, have filed for IPOs. Isn't that more than a coincidence? As you would say, Jesse, isn't that interesting? While Kraken and Ripple Labs plan to list in 2026. So that's also a great finding. And then also here's a chart, actually, excuse me. Latest valuation of major crypto companies. And you see here at 11.3, I don't know if that's necessarily billions, but Ripple Labs, Kraken, Bullish, and Gemini. That source came from Reuters, which is pretty, a pretty valid source. So again, even with this, I think this is a great finding from Smoke once again, because DBS originally posted this, Jesse. So I'm gonna kick it over to you on this one. What are your thoughts on this DBS report?
Yeah, it's awesome. So I want to point out, yeah, so what I noticed there, again, it's always the same thing. They talked about, they mentioned Hidden Road, which was just a recent acquisition, right? So this is a very recent document. Can't be more than, 4 or 5 months old. I can't remember when Hidden Road was made public that they're buying it.
Like June or July, give or take, last summer. Yeah.
3 or 4 months, right? 4 or 5 months maximum. So this document is less than 6 months old, and it's saying that literally over 100 institutions have adopted Ripple. And again, that's BS. They're being so conservative because Ripple made a policy a while back that they weren't going to say really how many institutions they have on RippleNet. Because, so again, this document saying 100 institutions adopted by 100 institutions, complete BS. Because in 2000, which is a good thing, I'm saying that in a good way, because in 2018 or 2019, I think it's 2018, Brad Garlinghouse admitted that they had 200 banks connected to RippleNet, and that they were adding. I remember him clearly saying that they were adding 5 banks per week, and then a few months later he said we're adding 6 banks per week. This was in 2018. Now somebody made a comment in my YouTube video. They said that, and I couldn't find a video where he said that, but somebody said that it was just 2 banks per week. So or 1 bank or 2 banks per week. I clearly remember him saying 5, and then later on saying we're now adding 6 banks per week. So let's just do the math. This is 2018. They already had 200. 6 banks per week, 300 banks, 312 banks to be exact per year. 7 years ago, literally, you're talking 2,100 banks plus the 200 they already had. Now, if we want to be conservative and say that the guy that commented in my YouTube video, let's say he's correct and it was only 2 banks per week, well, that's still 100 banks per year. 7 years ago, that's 700 banks plus the 200 they already had. So even then, that's 900 banks they would have, very, very conservatively. Plus, we know, again, it's the shared ledger, it's a unified ledger, it's that regulated internal value. So we know Swift is connecting it into it. We know CLS, all these different payment systems and these APIs connecting, like Swift alone is 11,000 banks, so on and so forth. So when they say 100 banks, they are not being honest there, right? They are not being fully transparent. You're talking thousands of banks already, because the document coming from Hyperledger Foundation as well was showing that by end of 2025, all of the banks, the central banks and commercial banks and liquidity providers, were holding XRP. And you're showing that you had the full adoption of the internet value by the end of 2025. And we see the ISO 20022 going live now in literally 20 days, less than 20 days, right? So because they're ready. In my opinion, they're ready. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I got to say, man. It's the document's not bullish enough. It's way bigger than what they're showing us, but very, very good, very nice document though. But I'd say they're being, yeah.
I more than believe this. I just want to throw this in here because, again, back to what Jesse was talking about. So a while back, last summer, Rue Black and I covered this, even with Zebek. They did, and I'll just show you guys just a quick little visual. This is good. Here's a thumbnail. The massive Zebek banking opportunity nobody's talking about. 22,700 independent banks. So when Jesse is talking about what Brad Garlinghouse said, what they're doing with the banks as far as 6 or whatever it was a while back, again, I'm thinking to myself, like, that was more than doable. You know what I mean? Like, there's independent banks. There's some of the ones that are just focused on not exactly like what we're used to with Wells Fargo's and Chase banks, like your regular mom and pop style banks. But this is more than doable, and apparently they did do it. I mean, the math does add up with what you're saying. There's 52 weeks in a year. Let's say, for example, they took a break, for, I don't know, or 2 weeks break, Christmas vacation or whatever. Yeah. So that'd be 50 weeks in a year. Yeah. Anyway,
I want to add one thing. Max, I wish I could find this video. I can't find it anywhere. If somebody finds it, please send it to me. It's called Ripple Home. I saw a little presentation years ago, and I cannot find this video. It was a little presentation that Ripple was doing, and they had what's called Ripple Home, and it was like it's RippleNet, but it's literally the user interface for RippleNet, and they were showing how it works, how banks connect to one another using RippleNet. It's called Ripple Home, and literally it's like a Facebook. It's like a Facebook for banks. Literally, I'm telling you, with RippleNet, which is called Ripple Home, banks are literally, any bank literally just connects, and it sends an invite to another bank so it can look at, the liquidity other banks have and the markets they have and how that bank, how they could benefit from connecting with that bank. The bank sends an invite to the other bank. So it's like a Facebook for banks almost. The platform looks almost like a Facebook for banks. They just send an invite to the other bank. The bank clicks accept, like Facebook. When I send you an invite, you just accept it. Boom, you're connected. You're now connected. Same thing. Literally, a bank was sending an invite to another bank on RippleNet. Boom, they would accept it automatically. You're connected. And now they could just settle instantly via Ripple, via XRP. Literally, they could do everything between them. So it took literally seconds for a bank to connect to another bank using Ripple Home, which is like the RippleNet interface, is my understanding. And so banks were just like, they're not having a hard time adding banks. I'm telling you. It's like they connect an API, bing, bang, boom, off to the races. It's not hard to connect a bank to RippleNet. And so this whole BS is just 100. No, it's not 100, man. Like I'm telling you, we're talking thousands, like all of them pretty much, or close to all of them being connected, in my opinion. I mean, it's not less than 10,000 for sure. But again, just Swift alone is 11,000. One integration. Right?
Right. Well, guys, there you have it. There's some of the closing thoughts from Jesse. Do us a solid if you listen to the entire outline. Just helps give us great feedback to see who really is paying attention and type in this key phrase into the comments, and that is bing, bang, boom, and we'll know that you listen to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and Jesse over at Apex Crypto Insights, know what we have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. May the Lord Jesus bless you all. We'll see you guys on the next one. Over and out.
See you guys.